Welcome to another episode of Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. I am Bean, and if you're on here, please hit the thumbs up. Um, I'm not going to be on here very long. It's like 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Cincinnati, Ohio, USA. But I figured I'd get on here a little bit and just drop a few things. So, what I wanted to talk about was um, Daniel Dubois in the heavyweight division. Daniel Dubois is said to be returning to his trainer, Don Charles. He left Don Charles for Tony Sims. According to Tony Sims, there was a statement, and he pretty much said that him and Daniel Dubois did not gel. So Daniel Dubois is going back to Don Charles. So I want to know your opinion on the switch up of trainers. Um, do you feel like it's more Daniel Dubois himself, or do you feel like the fact that Daniel Dubois' dad has a lot of authority over him? I saw one of my friends over in UK made a statement. He said he feels like it's the dad of Stan Dubois, the father of Daniel Dubois, and that he believes that's where everything is going wrong because his dad controls so much and dictates so much when it comes to Daniel Dubois. Um, I have quite a bit of following on Facebook, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this link right now, and I'm gonna share this to my Facebook right now. Just give me a quick second, and like I said, even if you replay this back and you don't catch the live as I'm doing it, just hit the thumbs up. I appreciate the support. Um, and I appreciate anybody who pulls up here at Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. All right. So Daniel Dubois, like I said, he switched trainers and went back to Don Charles, which I felt like he should have never left Don Charles, in my opinion. Um, I just think it's certain aspects that need to be told to Daniel Dubois, and this is my opinion, though. And of course, Daniel Dubois is actually the person getting in the ring. But what we see from him, his potential is up there. Like Daniel Dubois, his power is crazy. I mean, I would say of the heavyweights, obviously people are going to always say Deontay Wilder as far as uh, a knockout puncher, one punch knockout artist or whatever. But Daniel Dubois has that crazy power too. I would say after Wilder, you would have to say is probably Dubois. And it could be a neck and neck. Dubois and Anthony Joshua both have a lot of power. But here's the thing about Daniel Dubois. I feel like when he's controlling the fight, he's setting the pace. He's he's getting the upper hand against his opponent. It's all well and good. But I think when the current gets really, really strong, as we saw in the Usyk rematch, as we saw in the Joe Joyce fight back in the day, I think he needs somebody to make him understand that, hey, in boxing, things won't always go your way. Like you may be putting it on a certain opponent that might be more resilient. Prime example, let's use Anthony Joshua. When AJ was getting all these knockouts or stopping all these guys, these TKOs, these stoppages, but then he stepped to Andy Ruiz, a person who was more resilient and came more game than what he expected. Maybe he overlooked him, but I'm saying that to say there are going to be certain opponents that are going to be a lot tougher than what you may expect. So you need to know what to do if you find yourself in adversity. So he could learn a lesson from that fight from Anthony Joshua, the first Ruiz upset when he beat Anthony Joshua. So when Daniel Dubois starts to fight people like Fabio Wardley, who he's been calling out, or if Daniel Dubois fights Zilly Zhang, if he should fight Ajit Kabiel or one of these top heavyweights out here, I feel like Dubois needs to go in there understanding that, yes, my plan is to execute and to try to stop this guy within the distance. However, if it doesn't go my way as planned and I don't get a knockout in a few rounds, how do I navigate if the fight goes to round 5 and round 6 and round 7? I think they need to work on this part of Daniel Dubois to let him know, hey, if adversity comes, you have to still stick in there and have to be willing to take some of what you dish out. You know, that's boxing sometimes. It's not an easy sport for sure. So we have to give respect to the guys that do step in those ropes. And like I said, hit that thumbs up real quick. Um, so let me know your opinion in the chat room or in the chat as far as Daniel Dubois returning to Don Charles and things not working out with Tony Sims. Um, Also, I think I mentioned on my last show, not Frank Martin, but Charles Martin, the Prince Charles Martin, will be fighting F.A. Ajagba. So that would be a pretty good fight, evenly matched fight. So I look forward to that. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the last few fights of each guy just to make a better prediction. Because right now, I just can't really say. Right now, I'm gonna say 50-50, but it could change um, because you got two big guys that got power. F.A. Jogba is known for that right hand, and then the southpaw Charles Martin has a decent left. So it'll be a evenly balanced fight. Um, all right, so let's get up to speed with the speaking of heavyweights. Let's talk a little bit about Moses and Tuma. Um, I think most of us agree from the eye test, he definitely is that guy, that up and coming fighter, southpaw fighter. Um, he's a finisher, as we saw, but we've never really seen Moses and Tuma in adversity. Speaking of the same terms, when I spoke about with Daniel Dubois, he's pretty much stopping these guys in early rounds, They want to get an opponent that can go rounds with um, Moses and Tuma, and they're hoping that he could face adversity and maybe his chin is tested to kind of see how he takes a punch from a decent puncher. Now, speaking of Moses and Tuma, Frank Warren did an interview that I saw, and Frank Warren he did discuss the nature of the injury that was sustained by Moses and Tuma. It was a torn bicep. So the fight was pushed from what would have been this past Saturday, the 24th of January, and it will be on March the 28th is the rescheduled fight date for Moses and Tuma versus Jermaine Franklin. Now, Jermaine Franklin, of course, out of Saginaw, Michigan, he is the one that they called uh, to fight Moses and Tuma. Um, Now, he's a tough guy. He's a tough guy. And Jermaine Franklin kind of has that somewhat of that Andrew Ruiz style to an extent, where he's kind of cagey. He shows a good chin. He gets in the phone booth at times. He'll mix it up. He'll go toe to toe with the taller, bigger, and stronger guy. So to me, I see this fight kind of playing out like how when AJ fought Jermaine Franklin or when Dillian White fought Jermaine Franklin. He's going to go toe to toe with Moses and Tuma. He's there for that type of smoke. And like I said, he has a good chin. He's never been knocked out. Uh, in fact, Jermaine Franklin has never been dropped yet. So it's going to be an intriguing matchup. You know, a lot of people feel like Moses and Tuma will make short work of Jermaine Franklin, but as of as of the last few fights that Jermaine Franklin has stepped up from Dillian White to AJ and from AJ to Moses and Tuma, thus far no one has uh, no one can state the claim that they ever have stopped or dropped Jermaine Franklin. So I guess the question we ask ourselves is, would Moses and Tuma be the first to do so? So let me know what y'all think in the chat, please. Now, let's talk a little bit about Regis Prograis. Regis Prograis on YSM interview, he kind of talked about Frank Martin. Um, on this interview, he said pretty much people have been trying to bait him with Frank Martin, etc., whatever. He basically said Frank Martin is a small fish. He said he's still down to fight Frank Martin, but to him, it's not a big money fight. He said Pitbull makes more sense for him, for Regis Prograis as an opponent. He also mentioned Oscar Duarte and Arnold Barbosa. He said they are highly ranked, and Frank Martin is not highly ranked, according to Regis Prograis. He said he's not hating on Frank Martin, but it's nothing there for him. He also said they are trying. Once again, he said they were trying to bait him. So, what do y'all think about that? What is your perspective on that? Do you agree with the sentiment and the things that Regis Prograis had to say about Frank Martin, or is he capping? Let me know what y'all think. And speaking of that Frank Warren interview I just talked about with the torn bicep being the injury that was sustained by Moses and Tuma. On that undercard, another UK fighter will be on there. in the light heavyweight division. Ezra Taylor. He trains under Malik Scott. So we'll see how Ezra Taylor does in March, in the end of March, when he fights on the undercard of Moses and Tuma. I've been watching Ezra Taylor. He's still young, so we'll see how he does with this performance versus his last performance to see is he making progress. Um, all right, so Baz Baru versus Xander Zayas unification bout at 154 pounds. Uh, Xander Zayas, WBO title holder, and Baz Baru, the WBA title holder, scheduled for January the 31st. If you have a prediction, let me know on who you think wins this with Abbas Baru versus Xander Zayas. Xander is, to me, in my opinion, a little more slicker, hand speed, the way he moves his feet. Whereas Abbas Baru, he's not necessarily slow, but he seems to have the power edge. He has really, really good power. It's an interesting style matchup. I can't call it myself right now, but the Baz Baru versus Xander Zayas, it will be an interesting fight. But if you have a prediction, please let me know below. Also, big shout outs to the fam. Shout outs to Bob, Canada's boxing channel. He stays in my rotation. He's always dropping something. Um, Shout outs to my fam, my Zone 15 Cincinnati family. Um, Shout outs to my big brother Spark Maceo. Um, Shout outs to my homeboy Nick Smith out of Lincoln Heights, Ohio. That's family. Um, they came to visit me when I was in my recovery from my surgery. So I want to say very, very much thanks to those and my those guys. And I said before and I'll say it again, thanks to my parents, my nephew, my niece, and my sister for all their help to get me back on my feet and moving again. Also, shout outs to DB, aka DJ Big Him, Zone 15. He's the back and forth. He's the Woodlawn Lincoln Heights. Woodlawn Lincoln Heights. He's both. So he's full fledged Zone 15, both sides of the tracks. We have a lot of history. Me and my fam. DJ Big Him on Facebook, and he does a lot of like mechanical work. He does a lot of different things. So if you're in the Cincinnati area, hit up DJ Big Him, and that's DJ space BIGHIM. All right, so let's see. All right, so Shakur Stevenson did an interview on The Last Stand. I will talk about a few things that I kind of picked up on. Um, he did mention Tank Davis. Well, really, Brian Custer brought up Tank Davis in the conversation. Now, Shakur could have just said, hey, no comment, or I'm not going to even speak on Tank Davis, and kept it moving. but he kind of got found himself being sucked into the conversation of talking about Tank Davis. What's going on, Sweet Jones, Cuzzo? Much respect, Cuzzo. Appreciate you pulling up, man. Appreciate you always being very supportive of my endeavors, man. So big shout outs to you. Um, I appreciate it, Cuzzo, for sure. Um, so Brian Custer conducted the interview with Shakur Stevenson. Now, what you will see is that a lot of times I will talk about certain sit down interviews with a boxer and maybe another boxer or a boxer and another person who's interviewing him. Reason I do this is because I like to bring you the raw breakdown and bring you the real. I don't want to misconstrue through another third party, fourth party, etc. I want to talk about an interview and tell you what came out of the horse's mouth. Now, I do paraphrase, understand that, but I am telling you what came out of the horse's mouth. So let's talk a little bit about that. So Shakur Stevenson, he stated Tefime Lopez can keep assuming he ain't got no respectable punch power. He said Tefime lost to George Kambosos. Shakur said on his worst day, he would not allow George Kambosos to beat him. Shakur said, also talked about being in the spotlight because with Tank kind of being on the sabbatical right now, um, Brian Custer said, I feel like 2026, this is going to be your year to shine to Shakur Stevenson. Shakur responded that being in the spotlight is overrated. Brian Custer said that he feels like, well, he said, well, how many times do you think you'll fight this year in 2026? Shakur responded 2 or 3 times. It just depends on the the type of opponent I fight and how much damage I've taken, which is understandable. If he fights a war more like a Zapata type fight, he may only fight one more time because he needs a little bit more time to maybe heal up, things like that. But if he makes quick work of Tefime Lopez, which I can't see, that's just me speaking out loud. Just say for instance he made pretty light work of Tefime, then he could bounce right back and fight a second opponent. Um, in the mid quarter of 2026, and then fight towards the end of the year, and that'll be 3 fights in 1 year. So we'll see how that all plays out. But Shakur also said in that interview, he said he wants his legacy to be taking fights that others won't risk to take. That's what he's trying to accomplish, according to that interview he did with The Last Stand. Um, Now, in the mix of all this, just a few days ago, I probably mentioned it, but I'll just reiterate it because sometimes people don't see my last live, so I'll kind of talk about it just in case you didn't see my last show. Uh, Raymond Muratalla, who defeated Eddie Cruz, he calls out. He's calling out for the winner of Shakur Stevenson versus Tefime Lopez. I would like to know your opinion. Do you think that Raymond Muratalla is on the level of Shakur Stevenson versus Tefime Lopez? And I don't want to look too far into the situation, but I mean, Andy Cruz, who stepped in the ring against Muratalla, gave a good account of himself. It wasn't like it was just like a one way type fight. I think what it was is that Muratalla put more let his hands go a little bit more, and he also pressed him. He also put like pressure on him, and he kind of got an early start and did that. But for the less experienced Andy Cruz, only having had his seventh fight fighting Raymond Muratalla, he did it good. Like I said, he did good. And as Devin Haney said, don't hang your head down. You know, you can come back from this. 'Cause it wasn't like he got knocked out or stopped. You know what I mean? It went to the decision or whatever. Now, Raymond Muratalla being the more experienced guy who looked good, but didn't look like I said. He didn't look like he was just levels and levels above the less experienced Andy Cruz. Do you think Raymond Muratalla is ready for the pedigree of someone like Shakur Stevenson or the pedigree of a Tefime Lopez? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Do you even think that Raymond Muratalla is on that level? And like I said, I'm gonna be on here just a few more minutes. I've been on here almost a half hour, and I will also probably be going live again on Saturday morning before the Shakur Stevenson fight night, the Shakur Stevenson versus Tefime Lopez. I'll probably do another live on Saturday morning, and then we'll be back on Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, USA. So, as you can see, for those who follow me, I am definitely picking up the pace. I'm starting to do more lives. I'm gonna try to be more active this year in 2026. That's my main goal is to learn about more about Sweet Jones. You said where are you watching the fight at? Hey, Cuzzo, if you're gonna watch it, maybe with you, let me know. If you're gonna watch it, I'll pull up. So let me know. I'm going back to work in the morning. I start back to work light duty in the morning. So yeah, if you're gonna watch the fight, um, I might have to pull up on you. Okay, I'll come through. I'll come through. Yeah, I'll pull up on you. Yep, I'll definitely be there. Um, yeah, so I'll definitely be back on, like I say, Saturday morning, and I will talk about the card prior to the fight that will be happening on Saturday night. So, like I said, if you're here, or even if you run this one back later on, just come in and please hit the thumbs up. Take a quick second, smash that thumbs up button for me. Take this link, share it to family members. If you got brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, whoever in the family, if the family members that you know that do follow boxing, please share this link. Like I said, if you're at the boxing gyms, if you're at the regular, just at the fitness gym, pass this along. Just let them know about Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. Take the link and send it to people. Just get the word out. The word out there for me, please. And like I said, this year is going to be a year of me doing more interviews with some people I have in mind. So um, it's definitely coming. I'm going to be more active and moving around. So don't be surprised when you start seeing me in different boxing gyms and talking to uh, some of the boxing coaches and some of the young up and coming fighters, because Ring Walk Boxing Podcast, this is what I've always wanted to do. I've always had a passion for this. And the fact that I do have a lot of love for the youth, this all kind of works out because you have a lot of youth and young boxers up and coming. So I'm gonna start interacting with different people. Um, right before I go, we have merch online store. We got the Ring Walk boxing hats in different colors. This one in my hand, the blue one, the gray and black on my head, the hunter green color T-shirt. We also have a variety of different colors, from hunter green to orange. For women, we got, or men, we have pink. We have pink shirts. We have purple. So we have a lot of different array of colors in the online store for the merch. We have hoodies. Right now it's cold in Ohio where I'm at, Ohio, USA. It's cold, so I'm about to order me a hoodie probably this week. But yeah, you know, get whatever you want from online. If you want to help um, this channel grow and make a small contribution, yeah, go to the online store. And I really, really appreciate it. Also, shout outs to the person who runs the Facebook Zone 15 group on Facebook. Um, Salute to them for keeping the community in the know of different things going on and stuff like that. Um, all right, y'all. So we're gonna shut this one down for tonight, um, and I will see y'all on Saturday morning. Most likely Saturday around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Cincinnati, Ohio, USA. So tap in. Like I said, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also hit the bell notification. If you're on Twitter, please follow my Twitter. I've seen myself go up like 13 or 16 followers on Twitter. So I appreciate the love. Follow my Twitter page. If you're on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. If you're on TikTok, follow me on TikTok as well. I'm going to be a lot more active on TikTok and Twitter here soon because I want to just be able to stick straight to boxing. Whereas with Facebook and Instagram, I will be active, but not as active as I will be with Facebook, with Twitter and TikTok. So, like I said, hit the thumbs up. Y'all have a good night. Be safe, and I will catch you on the next round. Peace.